Hi everyone, it's Miss Hakvari in the library. I wanted to tell you about a book that's on our high school book award list for this year. It's called The Grace Year by the author Kim Liggett. This book is in our sci-fi and dystopia section. It is definitely a dystopian novel, so there's something very, very off in the world that our characters live in. The main character in this book, her name is Tierney, and Tierney lives in a society where everyone in her county um, participates in something called the Grace Year. Only you can't talk about the Grace Year, you can't ask questions about the Grace Year, and there's just a lot of secrecy surrounding this idea. And what happens is during the Grace Year, so during the year that a girl turns 16, from 16 to 17, all the girls for an entire calendar year of that age are banished from the county. So they are taken to a whole other settlement. They have to survive there for an entire year. And the idea is that that's when girls come into their magic and it can mess up the community because it makes men and boys confused and it makes them forget how they should act. And so it's the girls' fault and they need to be banished for a year. And so Tierney is getting ready for her Grace Year. She has no idea what to expect. And one thing she knows that she doesn't want to have happen is right before the girls leave for their Grace Year, men in the community who are eligible, so who are single and of a certain age, can give a veil to the girl they like best. Basically, it's a marriage proposal or saying you and I are going to be married if you survive your Grace Year. And everyone else, if they don't get a veil, they end up having to work in labor houses or having to work in the fields. They are in a worse sort of life, if that makes sense. So on one hand, it's really good if you're given a veil, but on the other hand, you don't really get any choice in it. And that's what makes this such a dystopia. And Tierney is convinced that she doesn't want to get married. She wants something different for her life. She can't seem to figure out what it is because no one will tell her what life was like before the county, but she's sure she doesn't want to get married. I was fascinated by this book. I like reading dystopian fiction, and this one was pretty unique. It reminded me a little bit of The Handmaid's Tale in the way women are treated in this dystopia, but it was had a lot of survival aspects to it. It had some romance to it, which I thought was really interesting, and it definitely kept me kind of on the edge of my seat as I was reading. If you like dystopian books, if you've watched any of The Handmaid's Tale or read that book, or if you just like dystopia in general, or if you're interested kind of in women's rights and stories that advocate for that, I think you'll like the book The Grace Year.